So today Fuji and I are gonna plant our pumpkin patch. So last year I experimented with a bunch of things and this is like dead space up here. There's nothing but like weeds. The soil is like rock hard. See, it's like rocks. And I just said, whatever, I'm just gonna try and plant these pumpkins and see what happens. So I didn't like amend the soil. All I did was I dumped some compost on top of these like little mounds, and then I just put the seeds in there, and things were eaten several times, several rounds, but finally by about like July, after things kept getting eaten and eaten, they finally took, and it took off, and this whole area was covered with pumpkins. And so today I'm going to do the exact same thing I did last year, except for I do have this Slug, magic Slug, whatever. It's supposed to be organic, can be used around pets, and so I'm just going to try it on a few of the patches, because this year I kind of want to get an earlier crop so that I can use the pumpkins to decorate for Halloween. Last year I was a little bit late to the party, so this year I just want to get a little bit better. So I'm just going to give this a try. I'm not sure if this is good or bad. I don't know, maybe you can let me know what you think about this. But I'm going to go ahead and give it a try. So okay, so for pumpkins, I've got this beautiful Jardel. I grew this last year. It's like a blue pumpkin. It's really pretty. I've got this Cinderella pumpkin, which was also really fun. I've got the Jack B. Littles. These didn't make it. This area is like barren ground with like gophers, ground squirrels. I don't know, something ate this. The Casperita pumpkin. We've got a giant Atlantic pumpkin. I'm really excited about this. I tried to plant this last year and it didn't work. And then the Musky de Provence pumpkin. And then if I've got some more space, I might do the Delicata squash and butternut squash, the tender sweet watermelon, Kajari melon, Dixie Queen melon, and Minnesota midget. And then this year also what I'm trying is I'm gonna be called the container lady, because I just use like my to-go containers from the kitchen for everything. But I'm gonna try and put this on top of the seeds. Maybe it'll help them germinate, kind of like a humidity dome inside. And maybe it'll help with the slugs if I like tack it down with like a little landscape fabric or a landscape staple. I don't know, we'll see. And I'm also going to use it for the plant tag, because last year I didn't have any plant tags and I had no idea who was who until they matured. So I'm going to do Musky de Provence. Probably do it like this. Cinderella and Jardel. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe we'll just start with that. So my mentality with gardening is I just try and get a little bit better each time I do something. It's hard when you're so new and you have so many questions and there's so many ways you can approach something, especially when it comes to gardening. There's just so many different ways to do something. And so for me, the hardest thing is making decisions. And for this area last year, it was more of a bonus. I just grabbed some pumpkin seeds and I threw them in this area, not with a grand plan. I didn't till it and amend it and add a bunch of things to it. I just thought if I stick some seeds up here and something grows, then that is just a plus on top of everything. But if nothing grew, then I didn't really care. So I went into it with really low expectations, and I basically just piled some compost on here and then put some seeds in here, and then I would see things germinate, and then a bird would eat it, or a squirrel would eat it, or a slug would eat it. And I started around this time, which was around May, and then it wasn't until about July when things started happening. So here you're actually watching me trying to problem solve, because this year I am trying to deter some of the pests, which I believe are like pill bugs eating the seedlings, or slugs or snails or some kind of insect. And I'm trying to put this little to-go container on top. But then I am also trying to utilize the little water sprinkler that's there. So I'm putting it on the soil, but I realize that it's not going to get watered. And then, I know that I'm not going to come out here every day and check on them with everything else going on. So here we go. We figured it out. I just dug a little trench so that the container can sit flush on top of the water and the seeds. And then I'm going to tack it down with a little landscape staple so that it doesn't blow away in the wind. Also, I tried getting those fancy little cages to deter some pests, but I've seen birds just go through the little cage area. I've seen them, like maybe a rabbit or a squirrel, just knock it over in the morning when I go and take Fuji for a walk. So I think this is a solid plan. It's kind of emulating like a little humidity dome that you would use inside. And I did start some pumpkins inside this year, and then when I planted it out in this area, they were just gone within a few days. And one thing that I think, and I'm not sure if I'm correct on this, but I feel like winter gardening here is really hard for me. And I think that one of the reasons why is I think maybe the pests are like extra hungry because there's not a lot around, and they just go for everything like way more because there's not as much abundance around. I don't know. You can let me know what your thoughts are on that. And also with this Sluggo product, I've seen a lot of people use it on vegetables, on edibles, really reputable people use it. So I think it's probably fine. I just haven't researched it a whole ton, so I just have been avoiding using products just because of the cost, and I also don't always want to go and research everything. When I first started gardening, I sprayed neem oil on some of my plants, and then later on I found out neem oil is not good for the pollinators because they can eat the neem oil and it's bad for them. And I don't care about being perfect, but for me, it's just, if I can avoid using things, it's just one less step for me to take. And so that's kind of how I've been going at things. So yeah, now we're just continuing on with adding the little domes. Fuji's doing a great job helping me, and he's very curious of what we're doing. So I decided to plant the melons over on this side. And I had a really hard time with melons last year. I think I got one watermelon, and it was towards the end of the year. And when I opened it up to eat it, it tasted terrible. So I think that it didn't have a long enough period in the hot heat of the summer. So we're going to try and get a head start on them as well. And then let's see here. Oh, I had to grab some more compost because it was kind of flat in this area. So I just grabbed some of our bulk compost. and I'm giving it a little bit of something to start. And I may fertilize these pumpkins later on if they pop up with some kind of food, because I think that pumpkins are heavy feeders, but I'll wait until a little bit later to do that. Today we're just about getting some things in the ground before it gets too hot. So we have some delicata squash over here, which I think would be really fun to grow. And what's funny about this area is nobody thought I could plant anything here. They thought it was too like barren and, you know, neglected, but it was just such a fun surprise. And I don't know if it was just beginner's luck that I ended up getting a great harvest, but yeah, this is just one kind of step easier than our little beds that we made for free out of the cardboard box. So I just think if you can plop some dirt on top of some bare ground and you can get something from it, I think that that is so fun. So over here I am planting some green pole beans and some sunflowers, and we'll see how it goes. This area over here had so many insects and roly-polies, and I've actually tried planting sweet peas along this little row, and those didn't work. I've tried planting a few things, so we're just going to try one more time, and I actually am going to add like that Sluggo stuff to this area, more so than the other side. I only did a couple little sprinkles on a few mounds up there. And then I'm also planting the loofah, which I'm hoping to get loofahs because I think that would be fun to have my own homegrown sponges. Here's a quick update on the kombucha. That looks really weird to me. Like, that looks really weird. I think the black stuff might actually be like little pieces of tea, but I don't know. This is concerning. I'm gonna do some research on that and see if that's normal. And here's our infused kombucha. This looks fine. The only thing I'm curious about is like the apples on top that aren't submerged. I know with fermenting, you're supposed to push this stuff down so that mold doesn't grow, but I'm gonna do more research on this as well. This is actually the first bottle of kombucha that I brewed, and I thought I ruined it, and this is the one that tasted really bad like vinegar. But I just stuck it in the fridge and I thought I would use it as like some kind of vinegar and a dressing. But then I opened it the other day and it actually like popped. But look at that. And it's good. I've been drinking this. So I'm glad I did not waste that. And I guess maybe as you leave it in the fridge, it can kind of calm down the vinegar taste. So that's good to know. And this is awesome.